It's Saturday evening. It's time to talk about the very best comic books in the world with our good friend Drew. You excited?
I'm excited, man. Yeah, there's some decent comic books this week. There's some really good comics this week. We got a great IU game on right now. Let's go Hoosiers. But let's talk about the best comics of the week.
And we got to start with Ultimate Spider-Man, number 11, Jonathan Hickman, David Messina. It's shocking just what a little bit of action can actually do to an Ultimate Spider-Man book that felt like it had gotten kind of bogged down in the Jonathan Hickman kind of world building and establishing the side characters. We truthfully hadn't seen Spider-Man actually fight villains or try to stop crime in almost a year of the entire series. And it finally happens in this issue. And it does so much to make it just a really exciting, fun read. And even the David Messina art, obviously the fill-in for Marco Cicchetto, you know, I got so many issues of him drawing people with their faces in wine glasses and then them talking over dinner. To see him do some action, it made me like the artist a whole lot more too.
Yeah, you know what's interesting is that there have been a lot of like apologists for this series saying like, you know, not every issue needs to be action-packed. Not every issue needs to have action to a point, but there needs to be some action in most of these issues. And even a page. That's what we're asking, you know? And finally, yeah, we get a couple pages of action in this. And yeah, it makes a whole world of difference. It actually resembles a Spider-Man comic book. We're like Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park. We're like, now, of course, you're going to have Spider-Man in your Spider-Man book, of course, hopefully. Yeah, and finally we get Spider-Man in this. But naturally, once again, he gets his butt kicked. So I'm hoping he can finally win a fight.
But he stops the robbery. He's fighting guys in Kabuki Basket, Mr. Negative. He stopped the robbery.
Okay.
Mr. Negative admitted it.
Yeah, he said it was a toss-up. You know, he didn't really get it. I think Mr. Negative kind of admitted, like, I didn't let him get away with it. It was up in the air. You know, I think they called it it was more of a draw than anything else. But yeah, it was fine. But after that, it turns back into dinner with Andre. You know, levels of dialogue just going on and on and on. It's like, can we move beyond this, please? And once again, I understand why Marco Cicchetto doesn't want to draw these issues because there's no damn action. I can't blame him. But otherwise, it's a fine book. You know, when you compare it to the other Ultimate comics out right now, it's fine. It's better than the others. I'll give it that.
This issue is far better than the others. I really enjoyed this, and I think that the throwing Peter Parker Spider-Man, having him stop a crime, and yes, the bad guys get away, but a lot of times the bad guy gets away. The bank robbery doesn't happen. He gets home. He's had his butt kicked because he was able to take all the people in the bank that were, you know, basically innocents and have them attack him. Spider-Man's not going to beat them up, of course. And he ends up having a pretty decent heart-to-heart with Mary Jane. And the fact that we got that nice open with actual action in it, I was invested in the rest of the story, and I wasn't just bored to tears. And by the end, I was like, yeah, this is really good. If you throw a little bit of crime fighting in there in your superhero comic book, I think it makes the world of difference, not just, you know, to being a Spider-Man comic book, but really allowing you to invest in the other stuff that they're really trying to flesh out.
Yeah, and I will get back to the superheroic thing, you know, to what I brought up earlier. It's just, they brought that back into the book. You know, like I said, the apologists for this, you don't need superheroics in a superhero book. What crack are you smoking? No, they're actually injecting it back into the book. So I will give him that. We're getting a little bit more. Hopefully we get even more. And hopefully we're not going to be just going to keep seeing the Sinister Six talking to each other. What's that?
You don't want to wait another year for another crime fighting episode for Spider-Man?
Yeah, it's like, we're going to have to wait another year before we actually get to see him fight the Sinister Six. I hope not.
So I was pleasantly surprised. I think it makes all the difference in the world to throw a little bit of crime fighting in your superhero comic book. And I thought it made Ultimate Spider-Man really stand out this week. Let's go over the indie books. We had a big debut. The Rocketfellers, number 1, Peter J. Tomasi, writing Francis Manupal on art, part of the Ghost Machine imprint. This is going to be like the family odyssey stuff that Peter J. Tomasi is doing. And I thought it was going to be like the Jetsons coming back in time, but it's much more of a Fantastic Four type of book. All action for the first 10 pages or so as the family, the Rocketfellers, are being pursued in the future. They end up traveling back into the past to escape their would-be persecutors. There's a pretty big moment that happens in there. And then we get a little bit more of a balancing act as you see what's happening 1 year after them arriving to our times, basically hosting like a Thanksgiving dinner and everything. And you're realizing this family from the future is not fitting in really whatsoever with the people of our time, other than really maybe the mother. I think the little daughter really stands out as the best character, probably Ray. I like her a whole lot I quite like the issue. I think some people are overselling it, like it's one of the best books of the year. It's not quite there, but with the concept and the setup, I can see it getting there easily in 2025.
I can see it getting there, but I agree with you, Wes. This is not the best book of the year. You know, it's like, whoa. It's like, yeah, cut back on the Prozac there, you know, cut it in half. This is not that great. It's really good. It's not bad. It's not great. It's really good. I'll give it that. And how it starts off, yeah, I love it. You know, and the whole book is a big mystery because we know this family is escaping these creatures chasing them, but we don't exactly know why they're escaping them, from what I recall. I think maybe, I don't know if the family took something or if they saw something, but I don't think we really know what happened. But we do get something very interesting at the very end when they say, like, even something as small as this, hopefully didn't make its way into the past, but maybe it did. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I love the art in this. You know, I'm not the biggest Francis Manapul fan. I wasn't a fan of his art on The Flash, but I will say this: I think he's gotten better as an artist over the past 10 years. I think this is some of the best art of his career, and I do love how he draws the family. And I agree with you, Wes. I do like the daughter in this. I think she's really the heart of this book, and we don't really get to know that. We get to know some, but more of the family members, but we really get to know a lot about the daughter. She is the heart of this, and I really do enjoy that, and I do hope we get to see this thing blossom into something dangerous in the future in the subsequent issues. But yeah, this has good potential to be something great in the future.
Couldn't agree more. It was a very, very good start, but it was a start, and they're definitely going to be building to something. I can see this becoming one of the best series of all next year. Also going to recommend G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero 311. Larry Hama writing, Chris Mooneyham on art. G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero has been a banger ever since it moved over to Skybound, but it gets so much better with the Chris Mooneyham art. And we've got the big battle of Springfield going on. And I love all the troops rallying around Cobra Commander, not realizing it's not really Cobra Commander. We finally have Serpentor Khan enter the battle space, actually coming down on like a glider and leading his cyborg mutant troops and everything. And then we have another full army enter the fold by the end. And Cobra Commander's going, what's going on here? Is that guy even on our side? And it's so much fun. It's pillar to post, wall to wall action, with a little bit of Baroness is injured and they're trying to get her helped out. Loved every minute of it. Definitely my favorite comic book of this week.
Yeah, you know, what's interesting about this, Wes, is that I've gone back and I'm starting to reread a lot of the old G.I. Joe issues. And, you know, page for page, issue per issue, I don't think I've seen G.I. Joe this action-packed issue to issue before from Larry Hama. And it has been amazing. I love that. And like you said, Chris Mooneyham is back on the book. It's like when a sports ball reference, if you're watching a football game, your starting quarterback is taken out and the backup comes in. Everyone's like, oh, God, here we go. Great. Let's see how long this takes. But you're just waiting for the starting quarterback to come back in. And Chris Mooneyham is that starting quarterback. He's back in. He's Peyton Manning, baby. And it's prime time. His art is flipping lights out perfect. And he was born to do G.I. Joe. Every page is perfection. Everyone is drawn to perfection in this. It is, like I said, action-packed, balls to the wall action. And where it ends in this issue, I cannot wait for the next issue. I can't wait. Because we're left with, I don't want to see who we're left with, but it's going to be awesome. I can't wait. This is, like you said, this is probably the book of the week, and it's hard to top it. Larry Hama, Chris Mooneyham, near perfection. G.I. Joe, get in on this, guys. You're missing out if you're not reading this.
There's not a better time to be a G.I. Joe fan. We just got the Josh Williamson series that started out awesome, and then Real American Hero stuff has been absolute banger. We're also going to recommend Jupiter's Legacy Finale #2, Mark Miller writing, Tommy Lee Edwards on art. And we've got these two houses from these two planets that are kind of in conflict, but now they needed to work together. We finally find out why, as this alien creature explains the true origin story of humans and superheroes in this particular universe. And by the end, the heroes can't take it anymore. They're like, I can't believe this is what's actually happening. Life means nothing. He's destroyed their belief in humanity and your free will and everything to that degree. There's a lot of exposition in here explaining how that all happens, but it certainly sets the stage for an enormous amount of conflict and certainly strange bedfellows teaming together to try and stop this great evil once we find out what superheroes really were all about.
I really love this issue. I think this is Jupiter's Legacy has been around for a while, And I really think this is one of the strongest issues ever in Jupiter's Legacy run. And like you said, it's a very terrifying thought when you think about this. Let's say you're led to believe you are this special individual amidst these few special people, and then suddenly you're told, no, you're not that special. You're just a new line in other special people throughout history. There's nothing special about you. It's only a matter of time before you're out of here. That's going to be terrifying. That's going to be shocking, and you're going to be in denial, most of the time. But I do love this issue, and I love it for that. And just you can really see, look, these superheroes, they're really jerks. A lot of them are just dickheads, and they really get their comeuppance in this when they're told this, and I love it for that. And I cannot wait for the next issue. I can't wait to see if they try to fight this fate that they're destined for, to see if they can beat it. But we'll see what happens. Yeah, this is a fantastic issue. If you've never read Jupiter's Legacy before, you don't really need to read the prior issues to jump in on this. You kind of understand, okay, you have these superheroes. They're really, a bunch of dickheads, but they get their comeuppance in this, and they're told, no, you're not that special. I love it. It's fantastic. Do check this out. Mark Miller, arguably the best right now.
Mark Miller has been kicking ass and taking names on Miller World for several years now, and one book is just not enough this week. We've also got Prodigy, Slaves of Mars, #4, Mark Miller writing, Stefano Landini on art. We've got Edison and his brother back together again, trying to discover how his father could have alien artifacts from Mars on Earth. Did he take his ship there? How did he actually get there? Well, the older brother has actually figured it out. He saw some maps and has figured out what this all means when it comes to their father's legacy and some of the remnants of the empire that he built basically around the world. But we end up getting one of the most insane helicopter, jump out kind of things with no parachute scenes that you'll ever see. And it's just really, really fun. The final page reveal I did see coming, but it's no less effective.
Yeah, and it's effective too because it's what the character is saying. And if you're reading into what the character is saying and how he's saying it and who he could potentially be saying it to, it's like, oh, this is very interesting. I wonder where we're going to be going after this issue, because this could be potentially something bigger than what we thought. And I can't wait for that. This could be awesome. But yet what's great about this issue is that not only are we discovering what their father was working on, what their father was doing, but we're also discovering more about the brothers, their family along the way, and how it opens, what the one brother did to the other one. It's like, what the fuck, man? That's pretty crazy. When you're leaving the house, then when Risky talking to the mom, it's like, what? I never would have considered doing that to my own brother. That's wild. But yeah, I do love their relationship and their family, the dynamics of it, discovering things along the way, discovering the stargates, going from jumping across the planet, really. I love it. And it's a very fun kinetic issue. Granted, there's not a lot of action. There is dialogue, but it moves so well at the same time. Mark Miller knows how to pace a comic so well, even when it's just dialogue. It's fantastic. We said it before, Mark Miller, 2 for 2 this week. He's killing it. He knows what to do. He is the textbook definition of a comic book writer and what a comic book should be. This is how you do it.
Absolutely. A lot of writers out there should be taking notes on how to actually pace a comic book and get people engaged in the story. We've got one final indie book to recommend, and it's a big one. Flash Gordon, #4, Jeremy Adams writing, Will Conrad on art. This series gets better every single issue, and I love the idea that Flash Gordon is a good guy. He doesn't want to help Ming. He knows Ming's the bad guy, but Ming is in a very dangerous spot right there. If he doesn't help him out, he's going to die. So he keeps helping Ming out, knowing that Ming is going to screw him over every single chance he gets. They finally make it to a colony. Shockingly, Ming thinks this is his chance to screw him over again, and he does it once again. And it's a lot of fun. I'm really diving into this thing. I think they've really fleshed out Ming very well on the early stages of this. The reveal of what Ming is signing up for, I thought was absolutely hilarious. It's his comeuppance, and he once again is going to need Flash to save his ass.
How Jeremy Adams has written their dialogue between Ming and Flash. I love it. It reminds me of reading dialogue between Reed Richards and Dr. Doom. When you write it so well, it's like, yes, that is them. Those are their voices. These are the perfect voices for Flash Gordon and Ming. Their relationship right now, the situation that they're in, they need each other in this situation. And I love that. And also now there's also another character introduced in this with a very interesting scene when he's examining something, which brings in another character from the Flash Gordon lore. It's like, oh, interesting. Is this that character? I'm hoping by the scene that we saw when he's examining a certain fluid. I really hope to see more of that. That's gonna be a lot of fun. But yeah, just how Ming needs Flash, Flash need Ming in the situation with this the situation that they're in is pitch perfect. Now I do want to say this. So I tried going around to different stores here in Indiana to try to find this issue. I couldn't find it anywhere. And trying to find it online, it was hard to find. So I'm hoping the numbers are there for this. If not, people need to be going out there and supporting this. And we need people to go out there and support Flash Gordon and Jeremy Adams, because this is one of the best indie books. The people need to be reading this. I mean, you have Jeremy Adams and Will Conrad on the art. Will Conrad's art in this. I know we say best, greatest, but Will Conrad is a fantastic artist. And he was meant to draw Flash Gordon. If you guys aren't supporting this, do go out and support Flash Gordon, guys.
Absolutely. So it was another very, very strong indie comic book week. And finally, we've got a Marvel comic book to recommend. And maybe this is just my little book that I like that no one else likes, but Marvel Zombies Dawn of Decay #3, Thomas Krajewski writing, Jason Muir on art. This book is hilarious. It's meant to be funny. It's all ages, certainly aimed at kids. I never knew that I wanted a Hulk book with him trying to murder Groot because Groot won't stop saying, "I am Groot." And he's tired of hearing him say that. And there's a great moment where it opens up. He's got Bruce Banner because that's who he needs to solve this plant zombie apocalypse thing that's going on. They get trapped. All of a sudden he needs to Hulk. And when he slaps him with his Groot hand, Bruce's eyes open up. He says, "Who?" And then he turns green, hit. And then the next one is him saying, "Me," as he's trying to murder everybody because someone had the temerity to slap him. And there's some really good physical comedy in here, especially with the little Lego that I thought was off the charts funny. I just love this series. I can't get over how good it is.
It's a fun series. I'll give it that. You know, I really enjoyed this issue, and I love the scenes with Giant Man. What happens with Giant Man in this? I thought that was a good portion in this. But yeah, I do love the dialogue, the banter between Hulk and Groot. It is fun. It is hilarious. But also with this, I'm not going to say that there's a twist in this at the end. There's a big twist. I didn't see that coming. It's like, oh, okay. So maybe they can potentially, hopefully, maybe find a cure for this. We'll see what happens in the next issue. But I'm not going to say who it involves. But yeah, it is fun. I will give it that. I had a lot more fun in this issue than I did in the previous issue. Now because I know what I'm in for, and the artist solid in this too. You know, yes. And I got to give the artist kudos for this. How he draws the Hulk. How the Hulk is written. This is the Hulk I enjoy, and honestly, I'm enjoying this Hulk more than the Philip Kennedy Johnson, Nick Klein Hulk. This is more to the true roots of the Hulk. How he talks and how he acts. I love it. And yeah, people, if you haven't checked this out, give this a shot. It actually really is a lot of fun. It's not dark and depressing and bleak like the actual Marvel Zombies, but no, this is actually a lot of fun, and you can enjoy it with your kids.
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest problem with the series. It's called Marvel Zombies. It doesn't have anything to do with Marvel Zombies. No. And it's really, really funny. And I'm loving that one from Marvel right now. Our final recommendation, going back to DC Comics, Batman Full Moon #2, Ridey Barnes writing, Stefan Subic on art. A Black Label Batman versus obviously a werewolf type of book. The Stefan Subic art is really next level stuff. He's a very, very talented person. Now, his art might not be for everybody, but if you want a horror comic book, I can't imagine finding somebody better to do that. And obviously, Ridey Barnes kind of made his name on Philadelphia, finally getting to move up to the big leagues and work on a Batman horror book.
Yeah, this was fun. You know, I missed out on the first issue initially, but I'm glad through our friend Josh McDonald getting to reread this or read it for the first time. I was like, wow, I missed out on this. This is actually a lot of fun, and the art is terrific in this. The art is next level, and I love horror, and this is a fun horror book. Now, what's interesting is that there's nothing really Black Label about it. And really, this could have been an Elseworld story, which is weird because DC has both Elseworld books and Black Label books. This could have been an Elseworld story. I really don't see anything adult-like really in this. And the dialogue in this is actually a lot of fun. I love the romantic triangle between Zatanna, Bruce, and John Constantine. It's perfect. It's written incredibly well. And I love how we see Bruce doing everything he can scientifically and magic-wise, everything he can to cure himself of this disease, because he got bit in the first issue. Spoiler alert. And he's going to Zatanna, John Constantine. Hopefully they can find some way to get rid of it. Does it work? You got to read to find out. But yeah, I do. And how they draw the werewolves in this, it's awesome. And the next issue should be just as bloody and explosive. I can't wait. If you love horror, if you love werewolves, you love fantastic art, check out this book, guys. You're not gonna be disappointed.
And this was actually a pretty good week. We got 8 recommendations in there. We got 1 from all the categories: indie, Marvel, 2 from Marvel, 1 from DC, and a lot of fun to go around. Maybe not quite as powerful as DC had been for the past 2 or 3 weeks, but I'm sure they'll deliver some more bangers in the not too distant future. Do want to say thank you very much to Drew for joining us. And by the time this video goes up, we'll know if Indiana pulled off the big upset over Ohio State.
Yes, we will. Hopefully, hoping IU will have won and we'll wind up in the top 3 and go into the Big Ten championship here in Indy. But that's all I got to say. Go Hoosiers. If
you would like more content like this, you do need to visit us on Think Critical Patreon, where we have Jim and I having conversations about all the best, worst, and in between comic books of the week on the Hot or Not podcast on the Doc is Right tier. 3 tiers for you to enjoy. Go check it out. There's a link in the video description if you want to check us out on the Patreon.